Are you a parent that's looking for a computer for your child for digital learning? Or maybe you're looking for a computer for them to help with their homework. Hi, my name is Jason. I'm a self-proclaimed tech enthusiast. And in this video, I will share 5 reasons why I chose a Chromebook for my child's digital learning. The first reason why I chose a Chromebook is the price. When giving a computer to a 7-year-old, I didn't want to go out and spend a lot of money on a computer, a nice computer. I just needed something functional that would serve its purpose. The Chromebook that I chose cost $300. The second reason why I chose a Chromebook is simplicity. Microsoft has Windows 10, Apple has Mac OS. But Chromebooks come with an operating system known as Chrome OS, which was designed by Google. Now, within Chrome OS, Google says that Chrome OS is simple and secure, which means that that's less IT task that I have to do. I won't go into details of what makes Chrome OS safe and secure, but I will say that if you're a tech savvy person that doesn't have time to be the admin for another computer, or maybe you're a non-tech savvy person and you just need a computer that works, I would highly recommend Chrome OS. The third reason why I chose a Chromebook is battery life. Chromebooks tend to have really good battery life, and when I say really good, I mean all day battery life. Acer claims that the Chromebook that I chose can get 12.5 hours of battery life, although you will probably see about 10 hours of battery life. Now, 10 hours of battery life for a digital learning school day, which is about 8 hours, is pretty good. Although my son's Chromebook stays on a charger pretty much all day, it is great to have the option that if we want to get a change of scenery or a change of environment, we can take the Chromebook off of the charger and go somewhere else and not worry about the battery dying before the day is finished. Although we say 12.5 hours and 10.5 hours worth of battery life, if your child is going to be on a Zoom call all day, I would expect the battery life to be shorter, but not significantly shorter that they couldn't make it through the day. Now, before I get into the final 2 reasons, these reasons aren't really specific to a Chromebook, but they are reasons that I chose the Chromebook that I did. The last 2 features that I'm going to talk about can also be found on laptops and may help you in your consideration if you are choosing a laptop. These are 2 additional things that might help you narrow down an appropriate laptop. The first thing on that list, or the 4th thing on our total list, would be the screen size. So in the Chromebook segment or laptop segments, you have screens of different sizes. You can have an 11-inch all the way up to, I think, 17-inch. I chose a 15-inch screen for my son's Chromebook, mainly because I wanted a screen that was large enough that if he had to look at it all day, that he didn't have to worry about how small it was. He could look at it nice and comfortably, maybe move it back from his face some. I feel like with an 11-inch screen, either he's going to have to kind of hunker down to look at it and probably move it closer to his face. I also felt like a 17-inch screen would be too large, would just kind of be overkill. Luckily, I had chosen the 15-inch screen because sometimes when you're a tech dad, you do a little too much with the setup, and I had him nice and set up with the external monitor. And then on day 2, we realized that the teacher couldn't hear him on the Zoom call, and it had nothing to do with the Chromebook. It had everything to do with me. So in a haste, I unplugged the external monitor, and we have been going with the regular screen on the Chromebook ever since, and he's been just fine. There are a lot of 11-inch Chromebooks on the market. Like I said, I chose the 15-inch mainly because of just it would be used all day. Probably the smallest that I would go is like the 14-inch screen size, but I think the 15-inch is a nice kind of in that middle ground of this is a decent sized screen without being too big or too small. The final reason why I chose the Chromebook that I did was because of the ports. The biggest one being is that it charges using a USB 3.1 Type-C cable. I know that is a lot to say. USB 3.1 Type-C cable. I had a lot of trouble with that myself. I kind of know what these cables are, but to be able to tell you exactly what to look for was kind of crazy. So if you go to the store and you don't know what you're looking for, if you're on the website look for USB 3.1 Type C. So the reason why I like this cable is that nowadays a lot of tablets and I think including MacBooks, some laptops and phones are now using this standard to charge. So that means that you might have some laying around, some of the spare cables laying around. I personally don't like when companies use their own proprietary chargers, because if something happens to that charger, now either I have to go buy a charger from that specific company, which sometimes tends to be a little higher, or I just now cannot use that device anymore once it dies. So that's why I like when standard chargers are used that I can use for multiple devices. When a company uses a standard such as the USB 3.1 Type C cable, I have several of those laying around the house. So if something happens to that charger for, let's say, the Chromebook, I just get another cable. Another great thing, which is kind of small, but it's kind of like a nice little gem, is that there's a USB 3.1 Type C port on each side of the Chromebook. So that means I can put my charger on either side of the Chromebook. It's a small thing, but sometimes when you're working in tight spaces or you're trying to do something very specific, it's good to be able to charge from either side, depending on how you have your setup. It also has USB 3.0 ports, which are still a staple and still used by many peripherals or many things that you would connect to your computer. So that's a good thing, that because the USB 3.1 Type C hasn't really caught on all the way, it's still good to have that USB 3.0 ports there for some of the devices and things that you have now, such as your mouse and your keyboard, or your external hard drive or your USB flash drive, that you can just plug right into those ports. This Chromebook also has a webcam that can be used for Google Meet or Zoom meetings. The built-in speakers I would describe as decent but not great, but there is a headphone jack if you want to plug in external speakers, or if your child needs to plug in some headphones because they are in an environment which they cannot have external audio. So let's recap the reasons why I chose a Chromebook for my child's digital learning. The first one is price. I think that these Chromebooks are reasonably priced for the features and functionality that they provide. The second one is simplicity. If you're looking for a computer in which from day one you just turn it on and go, Chromebooks are an excellent choice. The third one is battery life. These Chromebooks can last all day, so if you need a change of scenery, you don't have to worry about being tied to a power outlet next to a wall. The fourth one is screen size. I chose the 15-inch screen because with my child doing digital learning all day, I thought that was a really good size, which didn't put a lot of strain on his eyes and wasn't too big for the desk setup that we had for him. And the last one is ports. The Chromebook that I chose uses USB 3.1 Type C for charging, which at the same time can function and have data come over that same connection. It also has USB 3.0 ports and it has a headphone jack and a webcam. These are all things that are needed for the digital learning day. If the information that I provided to you today was useful, make sure you hit the like button. If you want to see more videos by me in which I do reviews or break down tech topics, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you want to ask me a question, or maybe you just want to say hey, make sure you leave me a comment. But until next time, I do the research so you don't have to. Peace.